Hello and welcome to the Miraculous Lightworkers channel, your go-to place for all things about Lightworkers and enlightenment. Today I'm going to be reading from the Daily Meditations for Practicing the Course by Karen Casey. The entry is from October 20th regarding the real world. The opening statement says, "We glimpse the real world in the instant we choose to not be afraid." Perhaps we wonder how something so elusive as the real world is attainable so effortlessly. The avenue to it, of course, is our disavowal of fear. And that disavowal is nothing more than our decision to walk with the Holy Spirit rather than the ego. The ego wants us to be afraid. The ego holds us hostage, pitting us against the men and women we have chosen as our teachers. This world is our classroom, but that doesn't mean we are stuck here against our will. We can depart in a moment's notice, for a long period or simply an instant at a time. The departure is what's important. It will change the dynamics of our relationship with each of our teachers every time we make it. It's pretty exciting to contemplate how free we are to create the kind of way we want to experience. If we want tension or fear, it's ours. If we'd rather enjoy peace, we can count on that too. The real world, the home of eternal peace, is merely an eye blink away. The closing affirmation says, "Today I can choose peace over fear." Let's just read that opening statement one more time, shall we? We glimpse the real world in the instant we choose not to be afraid. So when you're going through the Course in Miracles text, it talks constantly about discerning the difference between love and fear, and that those are our two options. You really have only two options. And you think that there's a lot more because we have a lot of different names for what we call everything else. So fear can be misconstrued as anger, or it can be depression, or it can be any number of sort of fractals that pour out of the original break, which is fear. So when we're looking at the real world, which is so rare for most of us that it's almost unfathomable how rare actually, it seems like escapism in a way. The thing that I think that is really interesting about this personally, just from like a psychological sort of vantage point, is that most people are pretty heavy into escapism in whatever form or fashion you can think of. Everybody has something that they use as escapism. It's so challenging to stay present to this now moment, especially when things are looking rather unhappy or anxiety inducing, this kind of thing. So constantly, one good example of this is that almost everybody that you know has a phone, and they have it next to them or on them almost all the time, all day long. It's an addiction that we don't think of as an addiction. We can call it anything we want to. And I've done the same thing. I'm guilty of it as well. Sit there and be on my phone and I say, oh, well, I'm learning. But how often have you taken the time to put that thing down and be present to just what is in your environment? You're constantly trying to distract yourself in one way or another from the things that don't want to be dealt with by your ego. So when we're talking about glimpsing the real world, it's like when you realize how false most of the stuff in your environment is, it's very easy to sort of breathe into what is real, what is true, what is constant, what never changes, what is loving, what is beautiful. all of the things that come from the place of light, and you birth more of that into the world. When you're busy looking at the world that we think is the real world, which most of us just never question. We look around and we see chaos, we see sadness, we see, all sorts of perversions and things. That is all falsity. That's what love aims to heal. That is all just distractions from us responding to what we are here to do on this planet. We're not here to simply observe the dark things and go, oh, that's terrifying, and never react in a way that can help another person and paralyzes us into a state of fear. It's not what we're here for. So when they're talking about the avenue to it, of course, is our disavowal of fear. It's looking fear dead in the eyes and saying, I see you for what you are. I see right through you. And I'm not scared. I know what's real and true. I remember what I came to this planet for, and it wasn't to sit here and be paralyzed by fear. I am coming here as a spirit living a human existence. I'm sure you've heard this a few times before, right? And in the lack and limitation that seems to go along with human existence, those things invalidate the truth if you buy into them hard enough. They invalidate the truth of your spirit and the permanency, that the eternal part of you, the part of you that never dies, because that's the part of you that God created. And that's the place where when you go to that, you have that direct connection with God. So making that distinction, which is not escapism, it's saying, I remove my allegiance to the darkness in favor of what I find to be real and true. I do not wish to participate in the nightmare anymore. And so I'm making a different decision. You won't find me in that illusion anymore because I'm in a different place now. Mentally, spiritually, I'm not going to keep subscribing to the thing that makes me feel powerless, because I know that's not what I am, because I was made by the one who is power, and I was made to wield my power properly, do good in this world, right? That is a pretty exciting concept, to think I don't have to be subject to that. No, you just change your mind, holy instant, boom, it's done. You jump out of the loop, and you can look back from a different vantage point with some perspective and go, wow, I was really in that, completely subscribed to it. But that doesn't have to be my reality, and I don't have to perpetuate that and make everybody else's reality a part of that and validate their fears with my fears. We can stand outside of that. And that's how we have the power to create a miracle, is coming away from the illusions and standing in our own power and saying, I'm not participating in that anymore. I'm going to be a part of the solution. And I'm going to do that by coming into the real world. Not the agreed upon lie, but reality. I thank you for joining me for this segment of the daily meditations of for practicing the course by Karen Casey. If you're interested in what you learned here, like, share, subscribe, comment below, keep the dialogue going. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here, and join us next time as we all come together to uplift, enlighten, and ascend. Bye now.